Okay, so welcome to our sixth weekly sync. We're going to start with your demos for the past week, and I hand over to Peter.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so we start with the demos. I hope everyone had a great time getting through their tasks, because I think we had some carryover from last week and it was a bit of a race to get everything done. So which team would like to go first for the demos?
I don't know how many demos we need to do, because actually there was one issue this week. Well, we had issue 12 in the end. That was kind of done with a lot of help from Golfo, and then there was issue 11.
11.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Christina, I think you mean issue 10.
Issue
10 and 11. We didn't start on 12 yet.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, then sorry. Yeah. So
Okay.
actually, last week was only issue 11. Yeah, with the delete items.
Okay, then we could do the demo and talk about how we went for issue 11, and then maybe just talk a bit about issue 12, if you've started it or if you are stuck, and what else needs to be done for it, without showing any demo or code, but just to get an update on how we went.
Okay.
So it's
So for issue 11, we had to work on the delete items. So essentially, the tasks were just about creating a function in the Firebase file, firebase.js file, and making sure that that function listens to the doc ID and the properties that holds the items on the list tokens that holds the item on the Firestore, and making sure it connects to the front end, whereby whenever you click on the delete item, it listens to only that individual item with the ID. And once you click that, it deletes it from the front end and also deletes it from the Firestore database. So I'll show you the demo now, share my screen. But I don't have the recent changes, but I'll just use the what I was on my previous VS Code with the file. So pardon me, because I've not worked so much this week because I felt a bit ill.
No worries.
So I'll just share my screen right now. So let me request. Okay. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So just go and check out. I can't remember the name of the branch. Oh God.
TCL-49 delete items.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, I'll just run the app. So Golfo and Debbie and Christina, they made them changes to the file, to the project, because I know Golfo asked that we should work on the try, await, and a seek function. So I thought she made a better recommendation how we should write the function, and I think Debbie and Christina did the changes. So, but I'll just use my previous code and just try to explain it, which would still work irrespective of what they did. So this was the initial task. So what I did first was I wrote the delete item function, but before then I imported the delete doc function, which comes from the this module or this package, Firebase Firestore package. And once I've done that, once I did that, I came down here with within the delete item, passed in 3 parameters, which is the list ID, doc ID, and the item data. So this item data contains the key and the values, which are like the days next purchase and the name of the item and all those ID and everything. I can't remember it from the top of my head. So this doc ID here is just the ID of the specific item, and this list ID, I think, represent maybe the list token, if I'm not mistaken. So this, from then I had to write a variable, which is delete doc ref, and use the doc. The doc, I think, is a function too. So passed in the doc, and from there I just passed in extra parameters, which is a DB. The DB comes from, I think the DB comes from when you initialize your project and your Firebase file initially. Once you get the initial code from Firebase when you're setting up your Firebase projects. So this DB comes from there, and with these other 2 parameters, which I rightly explained. So once I did that, I passed in this update doc parameter and this update doc function with this extra parameter. Oh, sorry. So I passed in this await and this delete doc function, which was passed at the top of the file with the variable name and the item data, which contains all the data and the keys and the value pair of each of the item in Firestore database. So this console is just to give me the response whenever I click on the item in my browser. So once I did that, I came to, I think, the list item file, and I just wrote some JSX, which is just HTML, and which is this button alone. And I passed in an on-click event, and make sure I passed in the name of the function. So with that, I came up here and simply brought in a variable, which is confirm. And this confirm is just like this window.confirm is just like a pop-up that will show whenever you click on the delete button. Yeah, and it tells you, do you really want to delete? So it brings up 2 options, which is yes or no. And once you confirm it, if this is true, that you want to really delete it, then pass in this function, which we imported up here from this file here. So once that is true, we pass in these 2 parameters, this list token. And remember that this list token comes from the app.jsx, which is initially for each of this token you create initially when you enter the name of the token. Let's say our name of the current token is so the current token is FIFO Shish and Fresh. So once you enter this, so this one will be representing this list token, and this ID is the ID for each of just the individual item. So this is just to catch errors once there's an error in our code, or once it's not working properly. So once you now press this button now, it gives you the result in your console. So if I click on this cheese, it deletes it. So I want to confirm yes, which this pop-up is simply this variable I wrote here. So it tells me, do I want to confirm? I click OK, and it goes out. So once let me just show you that it works properly. I'll open my Firebase Firestore projects and show you the results of it. Just a minute. So I'll search for FIFO. Yeah, this is it. So can you see it's only potatoes that is there? So it's just one item that is there, and one item is only present on the front end. So that is all so this on that. This is a different thing, but I'll enter, let me just enter the previous. So I think I remember it before change fresh. And I'll click on join an existing list. So can you see? So it shows the same stuff that is on the Firestore and also on the front end. So thank you so much for giving me this time. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, good one from you and the team. I think you all worked on this together, or does anyone have any comment regarding the app or the code?
No, actually Terry did on this one. So
Oh.
just a big applause for Terry.
Yeah, well done. So it was issue 10 that you all tried to finish together, right? Because I think there was an issue where I think it was with Golfo and maybe you both tried to finish.
Yeah, so we had, well, issue 9, we had to fix some stuff as well regarding removing some commits with Git rebase interactive.
Oh.
Something new that I learned. It was a mess, but yeah, it was fixed. And then the code was also reworked based on some suggestions that you gave us. And then, yeah, so in the meantime, Terry worked on this issue that he just presented, and also Golfo gave us a lot of input on the on issue 10. Is issue 10 right now? I'm confused. Yeah, so this was the big challenge that I think where we all were super stuck.
Yeah. Since I think issue 12 was not really worked on and we didn't get to see a demo for 10 last week, so maybe we can also just do a bit of a show for issue 10, and probably also we can discuss what we learned from that one. But nice one for Terry on this one. So who would you show the? Sorry, go for.
No, please, Peter.
I was going to say Christina can present issue 10, but I guess you had questions. No, okay. Then Christina, do you want to demo issue 10?
Yeah, I think so. Let me just search for it.
In the meantime, how did it go with the Git rebase? Are you an expert now? Maybe you can do an office hours for us.
Oh my God, don't tell me. Like, I mean, now I understand, but because we had to do one Git rebase in the past, but this Git rebase interactive, I didn't even know, like it was totally new to me, but in the end, it was fine. I just couldn't really manage to do it with the extension that you Golfo mentioned, this Git lens or something like that. But yeah, like I had no idea. I was thinking first about doing it with Git revert, but yeah, I read a lot of documentation that in the end Git rebase is much better because then you keep the history cleaner and it's like supposed to be less like dangerous, kind of. But yeah, so yeah, I can present.
I was just writing that if Christina can do it without the plugins, she's much better than me because I only learned about Git-based interactive recently.
Oh, really? Well, it took me a while. I was like going like back and forward all the time. Like it was a pain, but yeah, in the end, it kind of worked. So yeah, actually about this issue, I have to say that Terry was the one who started to work on this. I was working on issue 9, and yeah, as you see, this issue was about estimating the next purchase date, and recording everything into the database so that the app can learn how often the user can buy the different items. So there was a lot to play about with different functions in the Firebase file, getting the dates between days, and calculating the estimations on when the next purchase should be. We can just, where is the link? Oh, there is no link anymore. Okay, let's see.
I think you can use the main app link if you want to, and just show the part of the feature.
Where is the main link? Is at the end of the project, or am I?
I think it's somewhere in the middle. Let me check. I think it's in the project brief file. Okay. I pasted it in the chat.
Wait, I don't even have it open because my computer crashes normally when I have so many things open. But well, maybe I should also open Firebase.
There's a link on the Zoom chat, not the Slack chat.
Sorry, you meant in the, okay. What is my Zoom now? Why everything is gone? I don't see the messages. Maybe because I'm sharing.
I can just paste it.
Yeah, okay.
You found it.
It's
Okay,
very
cool.
confusing. Sorry. Okay. This computer was so slow. So let's put it here. Okay. So let's see if we have storage. Okay, so we create a list. I don't know. We add an item. And why I cannot see? Because maybe I cannot see. Sorry for this. So let's see here. Okay, I don't have a token. Now I do have it. Okay, so oops, I add an item here. I was doing a lot of tests with the commas and everything. So yeah, as you see, whenever I add an item, what was my, oh sorry. Let's see, because now we will probably have a very long list of tokens. It's actually, Can we delete the tokens at some point?
Yes, please, because now it's getting unmanageable.
And how can we delete them?
Yeah, I was deleting some. I know I told you I was deleting some, so I was even tired of deleting it. So maybe others can help me delete some. So what you do on that tree, but those three selected, no, go to the next column.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on the
Here.
top, yeah, go to that,
Ah,
yeah,
okay,
delete
okay.
selected.
Ah, okay. Okay, then I will have to do some cleanup. Yeah, so here as you see, we have the item that I just added into the list. So it says the day when it was created and when it should be purchased, but it's still not checked. So this was actually the problem. Oh, okay, now it changed from false to true. And now also like we have now here when the item was purchased. So this was my question, like why the day next purchase is the same as the day last purchase.
Okay, I will answer that. That in the beginning, I also thought it was a problem, but I read a bit in our Slack, and I found an answer that if you buy it on the day that you create it, this is what the calculate estimate function returns. So this is normal. But if you change a bit the dates, or if a few days pass and then you do it again, it will become a different date. I mean, it probably returns this date because the estimate between date last purchase is 0 because it was previously null. But I can't explain it so well, but it's normal if you create it and buy it on the same day. And it's a first purchase. And if you want to see it different, you can change the date created. You can make it a bit older. And then date last purchase, also make it something like, I don't know, 11 November or something. And
Okay. It just changed. Okay.
it probably just changed because you have the app open and it automatically detected this.
Yeah, okay.
And you see, it also unchecked the checkbox, it got to false.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
But you probably need to refresh it. If you refresh it, does it show the correct? Okay, cool.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So now, okay, it became true again. And it refreshed. Yeah, so yeah, this was basically the task. There was something about the labels like soon, kind of soon, that I think Golfo mentioned that was not right and that it should become a new issue, right?
Yes, you check the labels.
Okay.
The labels, I mean, in the app.
Yeah, like these ones here.
Yep, then not soon, kind of soon, they should be switched.
Ah, okay. So okay, so we need to fix that as well. Yeah, from the code, I cannot really explain that much. I'm really sorry about this because I didn't like Terry started this task, so he actually wrote some code about it, and then we went through it with Golfo, and I actually have more questions than what I can explain myself. So I was just wondering if we would go through the code today to see how the task was actually solved.
Does anybody, Terry, maybe you understand the code and want to walk through it, or do you want me to walk through it?
I think it'd be good to have you walk through it, if that's fine.
Okay, so I'll share my screen.
That's true.
Just Just a second. And screen. Okay, now you can see the screen, and I'll pull the latest main. So I think here the interesting part is the handle checkbox function and here the update item. So let's go to update item in the Firebase file, and here we pass this ID, the doc ID, and the item data. And here the thing is that we need to record the last, we need to set is checked to true. We need to send the total purchases, and we need to increase this by 1. Let me see if it was already increased. Let me see where it is. Ah, yes, the total purchases we already increased. We pass is checked as true. These we could have done also in the Firebase file, but it's the same. And we pass the old date last purchase and date next purchase. I mean, here is why I decided to do it like this, because for me personally, the confusion was date next purchase and date last purchase. It wasn't so clear which one was the original one and which is the one we needed to, which one was the updated variable. So I decided to name the existing one, to put an old before it. And for the date last purchase, if it already has a date last purchase value, we convert this to date from the timestamp I think that Firestore has, and if it doesn't have one, we pass the current date, because it means it has never been bought before, and today is the first time that it's been bought. And the old date next purchase is just the next purchase date converted to a date, because an item always has a date next purchase. I mean, even when you add it, it estimates a next purchase date and it gets added. So there's no way an item will not have a next purchase date because it's added on creation. And the previous estimate, you get the days before these two values, the last purchase date and the next purchase date. And this is an integer. The days between the last transaction are the old last purchase and the current date. This can even be 0 though, if there's never been a purchase before, or it might be a specific number of days. And then we want to estimate the next purchase in days. To get the integer of the days, we pass the previous estimate, days in last transaction and total purchases. This is a library function, so we didn't implement it. We just need to pass the correct parameters, and it gives us the next purchase estimation in days. So here, all we have to do is to get the new date next purchase, we have to add the days to our current date, because we're buying it right now and we need to add the estimated days. And now we can pass the new data. Here's the data we got passed from previously when we handled the checkbox click. Date last purchase gets changed to the current date. We don't need here to calculate something because we just purchased it and it's the current date. And for the next purchase date, we pass the new date that we calculated here. And then we update the document. Oh, by the way, I got a message that participants can now see your screen. I hope you were seeing the screen all this time. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Nobody- okay, great. Yep, and that is it. Do you want me to explain something else? I think this was the most complicated part of this update item function. I think the other parts were pretty straightforward. Anybody have any questions of why we did it like this? Or maybe they thought of an improvement, something we can do better?
I missed some part of the code walkthrough
Mhm.
because of my connection, but I think I don't have any question. I'm just going to say very well done to everyone that participated, because I think the date stuff and the issue was a bit complex, and
Mhm.
it's very good that we're finally able to have it resolved. And yeah, so well done to everyone who did that.
Yep, I mean, we tried tackling it on one day and we thought we fixed it. And then I discovered that my suggestions had bugs and I had to go through it again. And I realized that because there's a lot going on, the best solution is to take it step by step. And for me, it's very important that the variables are named correctly. It helps you a lot to understand what's going on. And yeah, maybe some of these could be put in separate functions or something to make it even cleaner. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. I see there are some some comments. Thank you from Debbie. But if anybody can think of some other questions or you decide to go through the code, just send a message in Slack and ask if you have something else. Do we have anything else before moving on to the issues?
That's all from my side.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate everybody because the past week especially was very chaotic with people being sick and not be able to participate and all that. And I think we did well. We improvised and we moved forward. So I think we did very well and everybody did a great job of stepping in and taking responsibility and helping out. Everybody who was feeling well, they stepped in for the people who weren't feeling well. And you covered it very good. And yeah, we were a bit slower this week, but it makes sense since some people were out. I mean, there was no sense in pushing ourselves very hard just to cover for the people that weren't here. Okay, and now we can discuss the issues for the next week. And I will share my screen again. And you can see the issue. So, as I said before, because of the delays we had in the previous week, this week we should get started on issue 13, but we also have issue 12 left over. And what I suggested is that both teams work on this, so you can get it done as quickly as possible and you can move on to issue 13, which is the more fun issue, instead of one team doing this and another team doing issue 13. Because for issue 13, you all need to coordinate, so it doesn't make sense for only one team to work on it. So now let's take a look at this issue. For this issue, we need to sort the items that people have been added to the lists in 4 possible groups, according to how urgently the user should buy an item. So they either need to buy an item soon, 7 days or fewer until the next purchase, need to buy an item kind of soon, between 7 and 30 days until the next purchase, and need to buy not soon, 30 days or more against the next purchase. And if 60 days have passed since the last purchase, an item is inactive. So for this feature, the team will need to create some new UI elements so the user knows how their teams are sorted and write some logic behind the scenes to perform the sorting itself. And it will help you if you read the acceptance criteria and follow the steps that are suggested there. So the acceptance criteria, one part is a UI part, the first criteria, that the items in the list are shown with an indicator that tells the user they should buy the item soon, kind of soon or not soon, or that the item is inactive. The urgency indicator does not rely on only color. This means that if you want, you can add some color that shows if how soon the item should be bought, that shows the urgency. But since CSS is mostly a part of issue 13 for this issue, you can not think about CSS at all and just add another indicator like some text, like next to the item, just add a label that says soon, or something like that, or inactive. And in issue 13, you can try to make it prettier. And the other criteria is adding a compare purchase urgency function to the Firestore.js file in the API that sorts the inactive items last, then sorts items in ascending order of days until purchase, and sorts item with the same days until purchase alphabetically. For this, I can provide an example, like if you don't understand exactly what it asks, maybe in Slack we can write an example to make sure that we all understand what's supposed to happen here. And if you complete all the previous acceptance criteria, consider what happens when an item's date next purchase has passed, but it isn't yet inactive. Let's call that item overdue. So this is when an item is between 30 and 60 days. So you can extend the functionality of compare purchase urgency to sort overdue items to the top of the list, or indicate in your UI when an item is overdue. I mean not or and. This stretch goal, if you want to do it, you can do it. Or if you feel like you want to skip it and go to the CSS part and maybe do it at the end, or do it, I don't know, you can even try doing it after the cohort ends and you want to do something extra. So for this issue, there's a lot to do. You can, here are some tips of how to approach the tasks. And it also says that you can use the get days between dates function from the dates.js file, would be very useful. Here, it says why you shouldn't only use color. It's because maybe a colorblind user won't be able to tell the difference between urgency indicators. And if you use icons, you have to teach users what those icons mean. So it's better to just use plain text. And here are the multiple criteria you need to sort by. Whether the item is active or inactive, then by the number of days until its date next purchase, and alphabetically by name if they have the same number of days until purchase. And for this, you really need to understand how sort works. So I would suggest that before starting to write the actual code, to really understand how sort works and to work on this, test it line by line. Like you add a line of code, you test it a lot. You add another line, you test it a lot. If you write like 10 lines of code and then try to test it, it's going to be very messy. So I suggest you test it thoroughly, line by line. Okay, so this is it. And my suggestion, I mean, the two teams for this week is Christina and Terry and Victoria and Debbie. If Victoria isn't coming, she hasn't answered at all. I DM'd her, and all these days I've been seeing her offline, and nobody has heard from her, so I will assume that she probably can't come back for this week also. So I was thinking maybe Debbie could take the UI part, and Christine and Terry, you could take the API part if everybody agrees, because the UI part is a bit easier and one person can handle it, but the sorting part is more difficult and it's better for two people. That's my suggestion, unless you want to switch, or Debbie, you like doing the API part more.
I think I'm fine. I mean, if there are no objections to switching, I think I'm okay. if I'm able to figure the UI part out, I am happy to also lend a hand with other things, because I've been trying to look into it for the past 2 days and I've just been pretty confused. I was also going to ask as well, like, do we have a reference, maybe like a UI reference for how we should design it or how it should work? Because I checked and there are no screenshots. I also looked at the I need to buy.xyz app. And when I try to figure out the same kind of behavior, it does not really exist in the UI for that app. So I don't know if we have a reference to look at.
Yep, I mean, for that, it's better to do in the notes. It says that you can just render some text next to the item. I mean, you can do this for now and it won't look pretty, but you can focus on making it pretty in issue 13. So for now, it just needs to have the correct label. Soon, kind of soon, not soon and inactive.
All right, got it.
Any other questions? I don't think so. And also let's take a look at issue 13, because if everything goes well and you are done during the week and it doesn't take you the entire week, then you can move on to issue 13, which is one of the nicest ones, because the last 2 weeks of the project will function a little differently than the rest. Your team will self-organize around the lightweight design process to come up with a polished look and feel for your app. This will require you to make decisions together as a whole team. And here there is a process, but you can follow whatever approach you want. So like, for example, I think at one point we discussed about the CSS, that you can talk how you want to do it, what frameworks you will use, libraries, or if you will use plain CSS. And also you will need to write the stories needed to complete the implementation of your design direction. So you need to think of the tasks you're going to do and create appropriate issues and describe what you need to do. And here's the design process. You can think of the tone you're going for, what feeling are you trying to convey, and come up with 3 to 5 words that best capture how you want users to perceive your app. For example, it can be fun, clean, ironic, businesslike, but it's nice if you have a consistent feel across your app. You can even create a mood board to help you. For typography, you can use Google Fonts. It's a very nice way to, it has a lot of fonts and it's very easy to add them to your
Sorry,
app.
what is a mood board?
A mood board. It's a board that you can add a bunch of elements that help you get inspired to make a design. And here are some examples, like, for example, you might make a mood board with some colors and some images, and then follow this. So a mood board is not like, for example, a Figma file that is super detailed and shows you exactly what you need to make.
Ah, okay. I've never heard that word before. Okay. Yeah, now I know what you mean.
You can get some general ideas of how to work. And I think there's also another link here. What's happened? Okay, nice. But yeah, if this helps you, you can do it. Or if you think that it's something that is, more confusing, you can not do it. And you need to think of typography, colors. The colors need to be accessible. And here it shows an example. I guess, Peter?
Yeah, I just like to excuse myself because I need to leave now. But I will stay in touch on Slack in the coming days.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter. Goodbye.
Yeah, thank you. Have a nice evening.
Bye.
And okay, so here, you need to check the contrasts, but I remember that Terry showed us a nice way of how to even check in the browser that the colors are accessible.
Yeah, that was a good trick.
And you can use icons and images. There are tons of sites that you can find free images and icons. Yeah, but in general, you need to keep in mind that you need to keep in mind about the licenses of the images. So you can't just go and grab any image from any site. You have to check that it's allowed to be used for free, and even better if it's open source, because our project is open source. It's even better if the icons and images you use are also open source. You should decide whether you want to code your CSS from scratch or integrate the CSS frameworks. Each one has pros and cons. Like, for example, vanilla CSS gives you more control, but it's harder to achieve a given effect. And frameworks help you get things done, but often at the cost of not giving you full control of the design. So frameworks helps your app look pretty very fast, but it also usually makes it look like all of the other apps. So there you need to think how to, make it more unique. And when choosing a framework, you need to think which one to use. So you have to think if they had good documentation so you can get started with it easily, if you can integrate it easily, built with accessibility in mind, and how active the community is and how often they update it and stuff. So here are some examples. Yeah, usually for Tailwind, I've been using it lately, and I realized that Tailwind, if you don't know CSS, it doesn't help you so much. I mean, you have to know CSS before using it. It just makes it easier because you don't need to switch to a CSS file. You add classes directly in your code. I don't know about the other frameworks, if they also
Yeah,
help you.
the same for Bootstrap. The others
Ah.
I don't know, but Bootstrap must be similar.
Yep, and yeah, I also haven't used the other ones. I don't know if the other ones are help you more if you don't know CSS, if they have more things built in. But anyway, all of these you should discuss among yourselves and make some issues to follow and make the app look more pretty. Any questions about this?
Fine with this.
Sorry, Terry, I didn't hear you so well.
Okay, so I'm fine with this. I kind of get every of your explanation. So yeah, I think mission 13 is fine by me.
Okay. And yeah, but let's please make sure to merge issue 12 first. So because with issue 12, the functionality of the app is complete. And then we can add the pretty stuff. And I was checking the comments that, yep, it's a nice idea to use Unsplash because it has a lot of nice images. And yep, Creative Commons license is also a good license to be able to add to your project so you don't have any problems. Okay, and there are sites also with a lot of free icons if you need them, but yeah, this is it. And yeah, you'll see that your app will look completely different if you add some nice CSS. And yep, no, I stopped sharing the screen, but I will share it again because we will now start a retro for the past weeks. Let me just share the retro link here in the Zoom chat. Just a second. And I see some of you have added already some cards, but I will set a timer for 10 minutes so the rest of us can also add some cards, anybody who didn't add, and then we can go through them. Is everybody done writing their cards?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, cool. Christina, Terry?
Yes, I'm fine.
Sorry, I was mute. Yes.
Okay, cool. So we can start reading the cards. I'm going to start with Peter's card. Kudos for the collaboration between the mentees and mentors, especially go for supporting with issues. And yeah, I would thank him if he was here, but he's not. So next is Debbie.
Yeah, so for kudos, I think I had this tiny draft here where I just thanked GoFo for all of the amazing help and reviews this week because we struggled a ton and you were really very, very helpful. And I feel like we would not have been able to even finish things up without your help. So I really want to appreciate you for that. I also want to thank Peter for the very detailed code reviews. He challenged us to learn new things this past week. So that went well as well. The other one I had, yes, I wanted to thank Christina and Terry for the fantastic collab this week and helping us pull through. We had quite the rough one and we were completely stumped many times, but we were able to pull through. And I just want to give you guys just amazing shout outs for that. Thank you so much. I've really loved working with you this past few weeks.
Okay, thank you very much, Debbie. Next is Christina.
Yeah, I would like to repeat what Debbie just did. Yeah, so first of all, thanks a lot for the past code reviews. On the one side, like there were some tasks that needed some rework and kind of made me get out of my comfort zone and learn about other stuff regarding Git. But that was great. It was a learning, and also like especially thanks. I would like to appreciate your help, call for a lot, because I think without you we wouldn't have been able to finish this challenging task. And also thanks, I didn't write it down, for the accessibility module that was super interested. And of course, kudos to Terry, who actually did a whole task by himself. So thank you very much for your time and working on this as well.
Okay, thank you, Christina. And for me, great job, everyone. Even though we had a few unexpected setbacks in the past few weeks, we pulled through as a team. Yeah, because stuff like this happen and you can't predict them and schedule for them. And extra kudos to Collab who stepped up for their colleagues who were sick, and thanks to the other mentors for supporting me. Next is Terry.
So for me, I want to what I wrote is so everyone should continue the good work, because I strongly believe that working on the project, even as we are not even in the same maybe continent or whatever, we are still able to do some great work together, which is not an easy feat to pull. Yeah, I just want to send my gratitude to everyone, and yeah, I appreciate the efforts that we've done so far for I think 6 weeks or more. So yeah, so appreciation to everyone. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Terry. And now let's see what went well. First is Debbie.
Yeah, so what really went well this week was that we were able to collaborate a lot. I mean, we had cases where, someone would work on an issue and, when it's time for the issue to be reviewed, they would not be around, and that person would pick up the slack and just push everything through. So I think that this is probably the most we've collaborated together as a full team. And that really stood out for me this week, because my week was very, very rough personally, but that was kind of like a shining light into that, and it just made me feel a little bit better. So yeah, I just think that that's something that really went really, really well. We're able to figure out all of our reviews and get our issues merged, and we did not carry anything, well, aside issue 12, over to the next week. So yeah, that's something that went really well.
Thank you, Debbie. Next is Christina.
Yeah, once again, as you guys mentioned before, like life happens. This week, this past week was especially different in comparison with other weeks. Was tough. People were sick, so like things happen. We cannot avoid them, but despite that, we managed to get some things done. Maybe not as many as we wanted to, but still we managed to get them done, and we can be proud of it. So yeah, thanks a lot for collaborating still, even if you were feeling sick.
Thank you, Christina. And for me, that even with some team members not being able to join, we could improvise and still deliver code. So we had to not follow the normal schedule that we had every week. We had to change a bit because we also had a delay with one issue and we needed to move on. But I think we did very well. And I forgot to add that because all of these were very difficult, I hope you all learned a lot. So if you learned a lot, then that went very well. Next is Terry.
I said everyone managed to help him. So everyone did their bits because it's a great a team works when everybody does one thing for the next person, even when the person is not around, or maybe the person just, oh, can you help me do this? So this is something that needs to be taken to any team we work on, maybe in future, whatever. So yeah, and also thanks to Govo, you've always been so supportive, and I don't know, yeah, just like a, I don't know, beacon or maybe shining light to everyone on this team, like the mentees or the collabs. So yeah, we really appreciate you, and yeah, you've been so helpful. It's not even underestimated, so it's so much appreciated, to be very honest.
Thank you very much, Terry, and for your kind words for everybody. And now let's check what could be improved. So Peter made a nice suggestion that reviewing changes before committing them. Example, changing Husky and modifying its config. And I also add to this that when pull requests are made, the person doing the pull request should also do some self-code review. So when you make a pull request, not just put it there and say, okay, people review it, but also read through it once and check that, okay, have all the changes that happened, are they relevant with the issue I am fixing? Maybe something got, for example, the Husky thing, maybe something was modified that wasn't needed, then you can go and remove the change. So it doesn't get confusing, because if a lot of files are changed and they aren't relevant to the issue, it gets a bit confusing during the code review. And also what could be improved, of course, this past week was a bit strange, but even before, our coordination and estimates, recognizing earlier when help is needed and when we can't meet deadlines. I think this could be improved a bit. I'm not talking about the past week because the past week was not so usual, maybe for the week before. And also this is a super important skill, to be able to recognize as early as possible when you can't move forward with something or when you are delaying, and just saying it and making other people aware. And a personal comment for me that I could be faster when giving help, answering requests and doing code reviews. So I could be more aware of what's going on in Slack and being a bit faster. And next is Terry.
I'm sorry, I was muted.
Okay.
I know we are almost rounding up these projects, but I think one person should just be in charge. Any of us should just be in charge of merging the work that we all work on, like to the main. So because I know most times I will not maybe take on that role, but maybe go and Christina or maybe Debbie can actually like be in charge and just like help us just merge, and once everything has been approved, and yeah, that's just my suggestion. Maybe for the remaining last few tasks we do.
Yeah, this is a good idea. I'm not sure if you mean that one person from each team should be responsible,
So
or
one person for everything. Yeah. Like
okay.
for any team at all. So just once the mentors have checked it, done, approved to the main. So something like that.
Okay, I mean this, if there are no merge conflicts, it's okay, but I think that if there are merge conflicts, the people who worked on the issue should be merging it because they know the code better and they know how to change it, or they can collaborate. But maybe the responsible person can ask another person for help. Maybe it can also work like this.
Yeah, so that is what I and Christina did, I think some weeks ago, if you can remember. Yeah, we did that and we spent some time. So I shared my screen and she also shared her screen. So we just walked through it and we resolved it. And I know what she did previously, I think with Debbie and Victoria was quite different from my own approach. So I just showed her how I would do it better. And I think she got my own idea of how to resolve it and how to resolve merge conflicts. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Then it can be moved to action items actually, because it's an action item. So I moved it to the next column. Thank you very much, Terry. Next is Christina.
Yeah, not that much new to mention, just what you Golf and Peter mentioned before, just reviewing once again the code before committing, especially to avoid Git rebase interactive. But now that I became an expert on it, I don't mind doing it again.
Yeah, it was a nice chance to learn something. Okay, thank you, Christina. And for the action items, next is Debbie.
Yes, so one thing that constantly just kicked my butt this week was the Husky changes. I think it also broke mine and Christina's app like last week or something. So I want to personally just keep an eye on that and just keep that updated every time we want to merge something so that we don't break anything or our app does not just have an error. And I'll probably just borrow a bit of Christina's time so she can teach me how to do the rebase stuff.
Yeah, we can do that. But do you actually know how this Husky thing happened?
I have no idea. It just started last week. And so basically the pre-commit file, the Husky thing works very closely with Git. I think it allows Git to monitor something. I cannot remember what I read, but it's a Git issue. So it comes from the pre-commit file inside your VS Code. Yeah, so once you change anything in that pre-commit file, then everything breaks and we have to fix it. So I'll just keep an eye on that this week so nothing changes again.
Did anybody update any packages or something? And it also updated this Husky thing. But I'm curious. I will try to look a bit into maybe, because that's what I thought when this got updated, that maybe somebody updated some packages or some Linden stuff, or I don't know if somebody even tried to make a change on Husky, or was it automated? It just appeared just like that.
I mean, could have been me. But yeah, I would just keep an eye out for it.
I think I'll ask Victoria if she comes back. I think I don't know. Or not really sure.
Okay. So thank you very much for the retro. Let me check, somebody posted messages on Slack. Okay. And I'll stop sharing. So thank you very much for coming to the weekly. And I will stop recording.